Hey guys, welcome back to Talking with Tyler. And on today's podcast, I will be recapping the Jets' last game against the New England Patriots this past Thursday night. It resulted in a Patriots victory, 27-14. And I have my dad back on here to recap. How we doing tonight, Dad?
Doing all right. Jets came out firing. Tremendous opening drive. I think it lasted close to 8 minutes of the quarter, 7 or 8 minutes of the quarter. Took up 15 plays and actually went down and scored a touchdown. So game opened up really, really well, but then kind of dwindled and fizzled out after that if you were a Jet fan.
Yes, it did, but I got to say, the rest of the game was exciting. I feel like it was really back and forth. The Jets' defense was really holding the Patriots to a lot of punts, but a name I wanted to talk about on the offensive side for the Jets was John Metchie. He had a terrible debut. 6 targets, 1 reception, 10 yards. I feel like they rushed his debut. I feel like they gave him a week to really get used to the system, but I think he just came out flat, and I don't understand why the Jets picked this guy up. He just couldn't catch.
Yeah, I mean, he definitely had a case of the of Butterfingers there. One thing I would say though, he did get separation. So whether the Jets brought him in a little bit quick, I mean, you don't really teach speed. So they threw some routes down the field, ran some out routes, and he was open. They weren't perfectly thrown balls, but ones that hit your hands. You would hope that an NFL receiver would be able to pull maybe 1 or 2 of those in to maybe help your quarterback kind of get off the schneid. But he is definitely in my running for duds this ultimate week. Not a great opening debut for our newly acquired wide receiver.
It definitely wasn't. But on the other side of the wide receiver group, we had John Metchie III, his first touchdown as a Jet this season. He had 3 targets, 3 receptions, 45 yards, and a touchdown. What a night he had that past Thursday night. He got his name in the books, first time scoring as a Jet, and that must feel good for him.
Yeah, I mean, it was nice. It was a nice rollout. Fields definitely hung in there. He took a hit. He threw it up. He was wide open. So luckily he was able to bring that one. And actually, I think at that point in time of the game, it brought it to within 1 score. Like I said, the opening drive, Jets really, really looked good. They were very deliberate. Had I think only 1 or 2 passes, but were really running the ball. And we got into the red zone. We did not stall and actually went down and scored. But unfortunately, the Patriots had a similar drive that took up the remaining portion of the first quarter, and then ultimately in the beginning of the second quarter scored similarly to the Jets. And Jets, I think, went 3 consecutive possessions that went 3 and out. And at that point in time, the Patriots really started to grab hold of that game. Drake May looked like a seasoned pro, like a seasoned vet, throwing the ball all over the place. The Jets secondary just gave too much of a cushion. Stevens, Brownlee is definitely vying for my dud this week. He had a terrible game. Jets were giving 6, 7, 8 yard cushions, and Drake May was just picking and choosing who he threw the ball to in wide open spaces. Weren't really getting a lot of pressure on the quarterback, so he was just able to pass, and they were taking up chunk yards, 7 yards, 12 yards, and the secondary did not look good at all last Thursday night.
It didn't. I mean, just gave so much room for the wide receivers. And the last episode, I talked about how they really contaminated Jerry Jeudy well. And in this game, it was Stephon Diggs' show. And I thought those two wide receivers, I feel like they're really like caliber. I feel like they're really some powerhouse guys. And just the Jets secondary was not there in the Patriots game. And I also wanted to talk about the defensive side of things, Jets only had one sack. That was Jermaine Johnson the second. What do you think this Jets defense has to do to get more pressure on the quarterback?
Well, losing Quentin Williams obviously does not help. I think Jermaine Johnson and Will McDonald are definitely serviceable. I think they have shown signs of, I wouldn't necessarily say greatness, but definitely shown flashes that they are could be good defensive ends in this league. But that was also when Williams was taking two guys at a time, so they would have to chip block with maybe an extra lineman or a tight end. I think the Jets are going to have to get a little. First of all, they need to get creative on offense, but I think they need to get a little creative on defense, where they might have to have some stints, maybe some wraparounds. I also think they might have to, delayed blitz with either a linebacker. I mean, when we had Huff a couple years ago, he was sacking people left and right, coming, kind of dropping back into coverage and having delayed blitzes. We might have to have corner blitzes. I mean, listen, if our corners are going to play, 8 to 10 feet off of the wide receivers, and they're going to give up passes underneath, I'd rather see somebody come off a weak side corner blitz and maybe drop somebody else, maybe drop a linebacker into coverage and try and just give them a different look. Drake May had an eternity. He could have eaten a ham sandwich back there if he wanted to, and he was just picking us apart. So it was difficult to watch. I mean, like you said, it was exciting. Thursday night game, the only football game on. There's no other distractions. But after that first initial drive, the Jets kind of petered out. They didn't play great offensively. They didn't play great defensively. Special teams really didn't make any plays. I think one thing the Jets really need to try and focus on is trying to get some turnovers. I mean, we've only had one fumble recovery. We're the only team, I think, in the history of the NFL that have played 10 games and only has one takeaway. It's just not a recipe for success.
It's not, but the Jets are going to be taking on the Ravens on Sunday, and Lamar Jackson's coming off a terrible performance. He had 2 interceptions, and they barely beat the Browns. And this could be a chance for the Jets to finally get their first interception of the season if Lamar plays this way again. But Lamar is just one of the best quarterbacks in the league, and he has Derrick Henry by his side. He's ran for 2,000-plus yards multiple times in his career. It's just going to be tough to keep up with. But if the Jets defense picks things up and starts playing good football, I think they might have a chance to win this one. But I want to fast forward to now. Yesterday or 2 days ago, they announced that Tyrod Taylor is going to be starting for the Jets on Sunday. Do you support this decision?
I think you have to. Being a Jet fan, just being even if you were a casual football fan, we've given Justin Fields enough time. I'm not saying you're discarding him and saying he's no longer a quarterback, but he's been at 3 or 4 different organizations, and he has not proven that he could be or should be a starting full-time quarterback. Now, that's not to say he doesn't have talent. He's got arm strength. He's got speed. He's got athleticism. He has all those things. Just hasn't put them together. Now, he hasn't been on fantastic teams either, but the Jets, to save the fan base and to just save, by no means saving the season, but just giving the Jets something, I believe Tyrod is going to be the starter. And who do we have as a backup? Is it Fields, or do we have Cook now as the backup?
I don't know. I think it might be Brady Cook.
Yeah, I mean, I think ultimately Tyrod gives you the effectiveness of getting the ball out on time. And Justin Fields has really not done that recently. He's just been holding on to the ball entirely too long. I did like when they were rolling him out, getting him out in the flats, the RPOs, different things like that. But recently that has not happened either. So Tyrod gives you stability, gives you experience, gives you some reads. I think they're also trying to save the locker room a little bit, where these guys are going out there and balls are flying all over the place and they're getting, led into, over the field, drops, sacks, things like that. I think Tyrod gives you a little bit more stability. We just looked up here. It looks like Justin Fields will be the number 2, but I hope Cook at some point gets a shot. And I don't want it to be a shot because, somebody gets hurt or something like that, but I would love to see the ability to see what he's got. I mean, right now we've seen Justin Fields. I think we've seen enough. So Tyrod's going to come in. Why not put why not put Cook in second? We have a real tall, tough task this upcoming weekend, playing at Baltimore. Like you said, Jackson did not have a fantastic game. They did enough to win, but I can't imagine him playing poorly consecutive games in a row, especially against the Jets with the secondary. I hope not, but I'm fearful that the secondary is just going to get torched, because you got to remember Lamar Jackson has the ability to run off 30, 40 yards at a time, and he also has a cannon and a laser for an arm. So he's definitely a dual threat quarterback, and the Jets have not proven that they could stop one threat, let alone 2 threats.
Yes, and I also want Brady Cook as my quarterback number 2, because you saw the rookies this year. I feel like they've really had success. You saw Jackson Dart. He's been having some season. Came just off the bench right after Russell Wilson got benched, and he's given the Giants some life. I mean, you got to give the rookies a chance at some point. Just there's nothing really that the Jets have to play for. I mean, they should just experiment new guys, because the playoff picture is out of the. I don't even think they have a chance anymore.
It's less than 1%. It's over.
They need a lot of help.
Yeah, they would need every team to lose every single game. So, see what you have. See what guys that have buy-in. See if there's potential. We've already proven that we have some draft capital, and if we have some other capital with some of these other quarterbacks or some of these other positions where we could trade somebody, and try and pick up some extra draft picks. Obviously, I don't think we have anyone that's going to be a 1 or 2 or 3, but we might be able to get something down in 27, 28, 4th round, 5th round. And, Muji's going to have to really do some off-season work here. He's going to have to really try to get the fan base back. He's going to have to get player buy-in. Woody's going to have to either step aside and let the football people do the work. But this concoction, this organization and its current state is not working. Again, another rebuild year. Season's over. It was over before Thanksgiving, Halloween. And where do we go from here? There's no light at the end of the tunnel as of today. But maybe Cook comes in and has a couple Mike White performances, and maybe you say, hey, maybe we got something. Brock Purdy was Mr. Irrelevant, and he came back last week and lit it up. So, who do you have for your studs and your duds?
My stud of the game is going to go to John Metchie III, new wide receiver for the Jets. Recently got him in the free agency during the trade deadline. And I just thought this guy had a great game, got his first touchdown as a Jet. All 3 targets that he had, he caught, and a big game for John Metchie, stepping up big with Garrett Wilson sitting on the bench and will be out for a couple weeks. And for my dud of the game, it's going to go to Brandon Stevens. He just gave so much of a cushion to the wide receivers, and he had so many silly penalties that shouldn't have even been thrown out, but he just decides to poorly tackle and just silly mistakes for him.
Yeah, I'm going to say for my stud, I'm going to give it to Quincy Williams. He was put in a really tough spot. His brother was traded. He was benched. He came in the game that he was benched and played pretty well. And then the previous game, just the one we're talking about now with the Patriots, came out and had 8 total tackles, 6 were solos, tackle for a loss. True professional. Really just came back and showed why he feels like he should be the starting linebacker for the New York Jets. As far as my dud, Brownlee just played one of the worst games that I have seen him play. He has played decent throughout the beginning portion of the year, but just really has not played well, did not play well in that game. Too much of a cushion. Even when he was given a cushion, and even the times where he tried to come up and jam, he got beat long. And then he had that penalty in the that drive that took place in the second half of the first quarter, where the Jets went down and scored. They had them at 3rd and long, and he decided to pick up the wide receiver who was about 5 yards short of the first down and flip him over backwards and get a unsportsmanlike conduct, which automatically gave 5 yards and a first down. And then they continued that drive and went on and scored, and then just from that point forward, just dominated the game. So that was difficult.
Yeah, definitely. Brownlee struggled mightily in this one. Just the two of these guys that we mentioned as our duds, I feel like they just were terrible. The cornerback room just hasn't really developed after Sauce left. Sauce was like our best cornerback, and now we don't really have anything.
Yeah, Sauce left. Williams is gone, and now these guys are here to hold up the pieces. I think, Sherwood and Quincy are solid. Tony Adams, not bad playing safety, but these corners, they were kind of left on the island, and unfortunately, we're supposed to be putting people on islands, and we're out floating at sea randomly. Unfortunately, it's been an experiment that has not worked. But turn the page. Jets go against the Ravens this upcoming Sunday, 1:00 game away. You're the eternal optimist and are still hopeful that the Jets will win. As I am, I still look forward to watching the games. We're going to be on the comforts of our couch this weekend, and the following week we'll be back at MetLife Stadium against the Falcons for another home game. We'll be tailgating in J4 with the Bradley family. So if anyone's listening to this and you're at the stadium, you want to come by J4, come on by and have a beer and something to eat.
Yep, we'll definitely be there. So thank you guys all for listening out there. Have a great rest of your day, and let's go Jets. Let's get back to it on Sunday afternoon. Let's do a Jets to close it off.
Jets,
Jets. Bye, guys.